Hello, students. So, today we are talking about the magazine of Khan Global Studies based on current affairs. This magazine is very important. You can understand that the dynamics of the examination, in which current affairs and issues related to the current always put in the objective uh, format of the questions. So, here in the prelims examination, this is very important. And in this magazine, we cover the polity, governance, economy, social issues, science and technology, environmental issues, including history of art and culture. So, I will discuss about the art and culture segment of this current magazine. And in this art and culture segment, there are various issues we have incorporated. So, issues involving art and culture, we have some of the issues involving the personality and some issues of importance related to UNESCO and other programs related to UNESCO. Okay, so history, art, and culture. This is a separate segment in this magazine. So, first important topic that we are going to see is the topic related to a great social reformer Ishwarchandra Vidyasagar. This year is the 205th birth anniversary of Ishwarchandra Vidyasagar, and his philosophy, his zeal for the social reform, his imagination for the society, that is very important in your paper 1 as well as in paper 4, that is ethics portion of the question paper. So here country had celebrated the 205th birth anniversary of Pandit Ishwarchandra Vidyasagar. He was a prominent educator as well as social reformer. In the field of education, he was deeply involved in emancipation of women. He was perhaps the first thinker in India who gave emphasis on the women education. And he was a secretary of the Bethune School, and Bethune School is the first school dedicated to the higher education for the women. In 1849, he established Bethune School. Although J.D. Bethune was the real founder, but all constructive work played by him. Right? He opened many schools on his own expenditure. At least 35 schools he operated. So, how much zeal he had for the education for women and education in general. At the same time, you'll find that Ishwarchandra Vidyasagar, he believed in fusion of Eastern and Western educational principle. He became the principal of Sanskrit College. He allowed non-Brahmin student also to get the Sanskrit education, and moreover, he introduced the Western philosophy in this Sanskrit college. So you can understand that he was not an orthodox social reformer, but he believed in the scientific temperament, and he really admired that the Western scientific learning must be introduced along with the India's traditional learning. So that was sheer greatness of this personality. Okay, many educational crown he had, and therefore he was popularly known as the Daya Sagar, the ocean of compassion. Michael Madhusudan, Michael Madhusudan Dutt, the 19th century pioneer of Bengali drama, He said that the genius and wisdom of an ancient saga, the energy of the Englishman, and heart of a Bengali mother. This is the three big epithet you can understand about Ishwarchandra Vidyasagar. The genius and wisdom of an ancient saga, the energy of an Englishman, and heart of a Bengali mother. So, he is properly known as Daya Sagar, right? So, Ishwarchandra Vidyasagar, father of modern Bengali prose, he opposed polygamy, he opposed child marriage, and so, along with the other activities, he was deeply involved in eradication of the root evils of society. But his brilliant contribution was he persuaded British government to pass Widow Remarriage Act in 1856, and he was the member of the Widow Remarriage Association established by Vishnu Sastri Pandit, right? So he attacked on practice of marrying of age 10 or even younger. So his reforms continued in the form of the child marriage, polygamy, and of course the widow remarriage. So Ishwarchand Vidyasagar. Then next important personality is Rani Rashmoni. Rani Rashmoni came to the news recently when Prime Minister paid tribute on her 232nd birth anniversary. You know, she has lots of credit for the humanitarian activities as well as sacred and the religious activities. Rani Rasmani, he developed many ghats on the bank of river Gangas, like Babu Ghat, right, Nimtala Ghat. These ghats was developed by her as a part of his philanthropist as well as public welfare activities. And he constructed roads to facilitate pilgrimage routes, such as the path from the Subarnrekha river to Puri, right? And she operated many soup kitchen and public water reservoir for the poor. So she had a great humanitarian activities, and she expressed commitment for the underprivileged. She was associated with the Dakshineshwar Kali temple, and once she appointed Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa as the chief priest. You know, she faced lots of opposition because he was from the lower caste, and Orthodox Brahmins had opposed his appointment. Okay, so the temple of Dakshineshwar Temple Kali became the crucible of the Bengal's spiritual Rinasha. Okay, her activities related to the social reform, we have polygamy, child marriage. She supported widow remarriage and women's right. She submitted draft of the bill against polygamy to the British authorities. Okay, so she belongs to the very low caste. She had a Kabarth background, right? She had a Kabarth background. She fisherman, that she belongs to the community of fishermen, and look at the way that she had committed to the our religious and spiritual and philanthropical issues involving in the Indian society. Okay, so education and culture also had a very significant contribution by her, right? Contributed generously to Imperial Library, now known as the National Library of India, and Hindu College, now known as the Presidency University. So she had so much commitment for the educational development of India, and therefore she is rightly known as the Lok Mata, mother of the people. So, as a visionary leader and patriot, along with the spiritual and philosophical learning. Okay. The next important issue is uh, Chhath Mahaparva. And Chhath Mahaparva for UNESCO Intangible Cultural Heritage List. Recently, the Ministry of Culture has initiated the process to nominate the Chhath Mahaparv for the inclusion of the UNESCO representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. I will tell you that here we have the definition that first time the UNESCO had defined the criteria of intangible culture. There are two cultures, intangible and intangible. So, lots of inclusions had already made in this intangible culture, but Chhath is recommended by the Ministry of Culture that UNESCO must include it in the list of intangible cultural heritage. Chhath festival is a 4-day long festival in which the toughest part is 36 hours Nirzala Brat. That's without water. The devotee will go for the complete fast to perform the deity Aragya. Aragya. That is offering water and milk directly to the sun. The first phase is that when we offer Aragya to the sunset, and then next phase sunrise, and thereafter the completion of the festival. Right? So this is celebrated twice a year during the Hindu month of Chaitra and Kartik. So Kartik Chhath is more popular and sacred, and here the 4 days festival is celebrated. This is a worship of sun. Perhaps its origin traced in the Indus Valley civilization, even in the Vedic civilization, even in the Mesopotamian civilization. Wherever there is a sun worship, most of the historians try to relate the Chhath with the sun worship. Okay, so therefore, Government of India had tried to make it a part of the UNESCO list of intangible culture. So, after nomination, what is significance of the nomination? That India's living cultural traditions and universal values globally will be acknowledged. Right. So, this list is prepared in the Intergovernmental Committee during the UN General Assembly, and each country present the list of the intangible culture before the UNESCO authority or UN authority to consider it. Right. So it is strengthened the diaspora pride and cultural identities. It is said that now Chhath is celebrated in the different parts of the world, and particularly in Mauritius, it is a very big festival. Okay. So UNESCO list of intangible culture. So UNESCO defined intangible culture heritage, ICH, right? UNESCO had defined the intangible cultural heritage. Any practice, expression, knowledge, skill, craft that was continued by a community or groups or even individual. This is part of the transition from generation to generation in the form of cultural heritage. So that expression, knowledge, skills, practices, festival, trends, all considered as the intangible culture. So sometimes it became identity of individual or group or the community or entire geography. Many important issues of India's cultural heritage accepted as intangible, like Vedic Jap, right? Ram Leela, Kudiyattam. Kudiyattam is a Sanskrit theatre in Tamil Nadu. Mudiyattu, this is a drama, ritual drama of, Kudiyattam is in Kerala, Sanskrit theatre of Kerala. And Mudiyettu, this is a ritual drama of Kerala. Okay. Then Kalbelia dance, in Jaisalmer you can find the Kalbelia dance. Yoga, Kumbh Mela, Durga Puja, Noroj is a recent inclusion. Garba, right? Buddhist chanting of Ladakh, Chhau dance, Sankirtan, Thatheras of Punjab, brass utensils making, Sankirtan of Manipur, Ram Lila of UP, all these things, Raman festival of Uttarakhand, all had included in the list till date, but there will be some new inclusion once this nomination will be accepted. UNESCO tentative list, right? Recently, 7 new natural heritage from across the country have been included in the UNESCO tentative list of World Heritage Site. So probably the list, if accepted, then right now we have the 62 World Heritage Site in India. It will become 69. Okay. And Ministry of Culture had announced inclusion comprising 49 cultural, 17 natural and 3 mixed heritage properties. Archaeological Survey of India is one important things that is going to be put under the UNESCO World Heritage. Deccan Trap, okay. Geological Heritage of St. Mary Island, which is in Karnataka. Meghalayan Age Caves, Naga Hill, Eramatti Dibalu, Andhra Pradesh, Tirumala Hills, Barkali Cliffs of Kerala. So all these states are presenting the list to the government of India, and government of India will submit it to the UNESCO to consider it as a World Heritage Site. Okay, so World Heritage Committee will monitor all these submission. World Heritage Site are areas or objects inscribed on the UNESCO World Heritage List, adopted by UNESCO in 1972 and in effect from 1975 after ratification by 20 countries. Okay. India currently has 44 UNESCO World Heritage Site, 36 cultural, 7 natural and 1 mixed criteria site. Tripura Sundari Temple. Prime Minister had visited Tripura and he had found of visiting the temples. So Mata Tripura Sundari Temple in Udaipur, southern Tripura, where Prime Minister had made a visit and tribute. So it is said that this temple is almost around 500, more than 500-year old, right? And this temple is revitalized under a scheme called Prasad system or the Prasad scheme of the Union Ministry. So Union Ministry had made a cost of over 54 crore to develop tourism under the Prasad scheme, in which some part would be shared by the central government and some part will be shared by the state government. Okay. So Prasad scheme is launched by the government of India. This Tripura Sundari temple was constructed in 1501 by Maharaja Dhan Manikya. Right. And there are 51 Shakti Peeth in India, in which this is one. The temple is one of the 51 revered Shakti Peethas in India. Okay. So principal deity is Goddess Tripura Sundari, a 5-foot idol worshipped as the presiding mother. And then secondary deity is Chotoma. Chotoma is Goddess Chandi, which is a younger sister of Tripura Sundari, it is said. And this Sundari temple is a unique syncretism of Shaktism, Vaishnavism and diverse communities, those who worship different deities. Okay. So the temple is associated with the Matabari Peda, That is a sweet, very popular, very sacred, offered as prasad. And recently, this Matabari Pera got the GI tag. Okay, so these are the important things that you have to learn. You have to learn. What is prasad? This scheme launched by government center sectors by the Ministry of Tourism. Okay, to enhance tourism convenience, accessibility, security, and cleanliness while preserving the soul of pilgrimage and the heritage site. Okay, so this prasad scheme was launched by central government in 2014 and 15. MONDIACULT 2025. Indian culture. This is one of the important segment. You know, India served as the co-chair for the Asia Pacific region during the MONDIACULT 2025. What is MONDIACULT? The World Conference on Cultural Policies and Sustainable Development. MONDIACULT is basically the World Conference on Cultural Policies and Sustainable Development. It is UNESCO's flagship forum for shaping the global cultural policy. Okay, so world's largest cultural conference now on the basically to frame the cultural policy, and 194 member states made a collaboration. Okay, and it was hosted by the government of Spain in 2025, and India was the co-chairing the summit. Okay, so this objective of this MONDIACULT 2025, the multilateral action, collaboration, and solidarity among countries to shape the global cultural agenda. To shape the global cultural agenda. There are 6 priority themes in this MONDIACULT 2025. Cultural right, digital technology in the cultural sector, economy of culture, artificial intelligence and culture, culture for peace, culture and climate, culture for tourism, okay, culture and education. So how these things could be clubbed, that would make the things more enhanced and global, if any regional culture to be understood all over the world. Okay, and here highlighted the cultural growing presence on the agendas of G20, G7, G77 plus China and other international forums. Okay, so these are the topics associated with this magazine, and you can see that this topic will be definitely a core issue for preparation of your examination. Okay, then we have announcement to make related to the prelims test series, UPSC prelims test series GS plus CSAT for civil services examination 2026, and there are 49 tests that to cover the entire syllabus, sectional text or the full length text related to the economic survey and budget, and CSAT full length test. So there are certain features you can join and get advantage of this mega program. So go through the entire magazine, cover the entire programs in dotted lines, and make a concise notes that will serve the purpose that what is the relation of the traditional syllabus along with the current affairs. Thank you.